on to the September 8th, 2022 meeting of the Camden County Board of Education. Asking members and Dr. Farrell if there's any consideration of open session agenda changes. Entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Motion by Ms. Idlet to accept the September 8th, 2022 Camden County Board of Education meeting agenda. Seconded by Mr. Heath. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment of silence. Thank you. Dr. Farrell, has anyone signed up for public comment?
No, sir.
I'd like to ask Mr. Barcliffe if he would come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir. For our board spotlight tonight, I would like to ask Jennifer Barclay to come up and join me. So on behalf of the Camden County Board of Education, I would like to congratulate you for having been selected as a finalist for the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching's 2022 North Carolina Career and Technical Education Teacher of the Year Award. We understand that having been selected as a finalist, you have received an invitation to NCAT's Career and Technical Education Teacher of the Year program scheduled for October 3rd through 7th, 2022 on the campus in Coley, North Carolina, and that during this week, you will have the advantage of numerous leadership sessions and multiple opportunities for discussion and sharing of best practices. You will also complete an interview process, after which interview scores will be combined with your previously submitted portfolio to determine your final score for the statewide process. We understand the Teacher of the Year announcement and celebration event will be held on October 6th, 2022. And we wish you much success in this process and appreciate your dedication to your profession and the students of Camden County Schools. So we got to give you the board spotlight tonight. And Camden County Board of Education presents this certificate to Jennifer Barclay for your outstanding contributions to the Camden County school system. Thank you. Thank you. Open session to appear.
No one has requested to appear in open session.
Consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Heath
Second.
to approve the consent agenda, seconded by Ms. Idlet. All in favor say aye.
I actually would
Yeah.
like to table that. Well, the revised policies. 3200 and 3210.
Okay.
It's under the consent agenda.
Dr. Banks has made made an amendment to the motion to table item B, revised policies. Is there a second on the amendment?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Heath. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So now we have the motion by Mr. Heath and seconded by Ms. Eilert to approve the consent agenda with the amendment from Dr. Banks to table the revised policy item B. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Information updates. Item A, audit report for the 2021-22 school year. Mr. Smith?
Good evening, board members, Dr. Farrell. Hope you're all doing well. Appreciate y'all letting us do the board's audit this past year for the year ended June 30th, 2022. And I think each of you received an electronic PDF copy of the report, and you should have just gotten a hard copy tonight. And we'll be going over just a few pages out of the report. Promise I won't take up too much of your time. The first page I want you to turn to is page 13, and we'll look at the district's general fund balance as of June 30th. And I'd also just quickly point out that on pages 1 through 3 of the report is the financial statement opinion letter. And that opinion is a clean, unmodified opinion, which is exactly what the board wants to receive in this report. Okay, and on page 13, we'll be primarily looking at the first column, which is your general fund. And up at the top, you've got total assets at June 30th of $781,634. And you can see that was primarily composed of cash and cash equivalents of $774,957. And the fund had no liabilities at year end there in the middle of the page. So your fund balance at year end is also $781,634. And this represents a slight increase of approximately $23,000 over the amount that was reported in the prior year. And most of the districts that we've audited this year have seen their fund balances go up. And last year as well, most of the districts we audited saw their fund balances go up, primarily due to the receipt of the COVID funding that all of the LEAs have been getting since COVID hit. And what we've been recommending to districts is, with all of the uncertainty in the economy right now, you've got minimum wage increases, you've got health insurance rates going up, retirement rates going up. We just recommend trying to build up your fund balance as much as you can during this time, just so you'll be ready to weather any kind of unforeseen circumstances that may come up budget-wise once the COVID funds expire here in the next couple of years. But I think right now y'all do have a very good fund balance level for a district this size. And reading across on that total fund balance line, your state public school fund and federal grants fund, both of those carry zero fund balances. That's normal. Y'all expend those funds in the year that they're received. The other local current expense fund had a fund balance of $84,668. And most of the revenues that flow through this fund are restricted in nature. So the majority of that fund balance would be considered restricted. Capital outlay had a fund balance of $1,302,451, and that fund balance is restricted for capital outlay purposes. And the individual schools combined had an ending fund balance of $267,785, and that basically represents the cash balances of the individual schools as a whole at year end. So again, I think overall the governmental funds look to be in good financial shape as of June 30th. Anybody have any questions on this page before we move on? All right. Let's look at the child nutrition program on page 56. Okay, and this schedule shows the revenues and expenditures of the child nutrition program for the year ended June 30th, 2022. And if you'll look down about 3/4 of the way down the line that says net change in fund balance, it's the last line that's got 3 columns to it. Your middle column shows the actual results of the program for the year. And the fund reported a profit of $204,347 last year. And in the previous year, it reported a profit of $68,000. And the improvement in profitability over the previous year is primarily due to the children being back in the classroom and the number of meals served increasing. The program has good cash balances at year end. I think cash balances were over $400,000. And I think overall the program appears to be in good financial shape for a district this size. I know this coming year, the program will change a little bit with having to go back to students paying for meals partly, or whereas last year and the year before, y'all been getting full reimbursement, which most of the districts we audit, they have seen their child nutrition programs do well the past couple of years. So just need to keep that in mind for the coming year, that things might not be quite as good with the program. So, any questions on the child nutrition program? All right, and on the next page, you've got your child care fund. And it's set up same as the previous page. You've got the net change in fund balance line. The program reported a profit of $5,448 last year. And in the previous year, there was virtually no activity due to COVID. So the program's got cash balances at year end of $124,000. And that's primarily due to unspent COVID funds that the district received last year. Y'all had some unused carryover funds that flowed through that program. But, I think overall the program, is probably doing what y'all want, which is basically trying to break even and not lose money. Any questions on the child care program? Okay, and starting on the next page, page 58, is the first of 3 letters that we issued pertaining to the compliance portion of the audit. Due to the amount of state and federal funding that flows through the district, we're required to perform a substantial amount of compliance testing. We look at a lot of general disbursement transactions, payroll transactions. There's a lot of other various compliance requirements that we're required to perform. And we're happy to report that all 3 of these letters are clean, unmodified reports, which means there were no findings, no question calls, no internal control weaknesses reflected in any of these letters. So basically, these letters let you know that based on our audit, that it appears that the money spent by the district are being spent in accordance with the budgets that y'all adopted, and we didn't note any kind of material issues with our testing. And that was pretty much all I'd planned to cover out of the report. We also issued a separate letter that y'all should have received, a little 3-page letter. We call that a required communications letter. And it's basically got boilerplate language. It goes over several areas that we're required to communicate with you on, basically telling you there were no difficulties or disagreements encountered in dealing with management during the audit. There were no significant uncorrected misstatements noted during the audit, and basically no reportable issues noted during the audit. So from an audit standpoint, we were very happy with what we saw. And I think Ms. Norfleet and her staff, they do an outstanding job. Like I said, we audit a lot of districts, and y'all have got a very well-run finance department. They're doing a good job of maximizing the state and federal funding that flows through here, using all of the positions y'all get, using all of the dollar allotments y'all get, not letting money revert back to the state. And that's the kind of things we look for. A lot of kind of things that sometimes board members don't know about that they need to be looking at. And I say that we've got a district we're working with right now that they're reverting, I think, $400 and some thousand. They overspent 800 and some thousand. So it's not every district that does really, really well. We do have some districts that are, not doing as well as they should. So I do like to highlight when I see one that's doing well. So did anyone have any questions at all? Anything I didn't go over that you wanted me to cover?
Do you have a recommendation? You talked about fund balance. Do you have a recommendation on what our fund balance should be, or district our size, or?
Y'all's is probably, we normally look at it as a percentage of your expenditures. And y'all's is probably right in line with what we see at the good districts that we go to that's got a comfortable size fund balance. So it's not excessive. It's not low by any means right now. Y'all are probably at a good level. At a smaller district like this one, obviously it's not going to be as high when it's at a comfortable level.
Mm-hmm.
So we always like to see it as high as you can get it. From an audit standpoint, it gives us more comfort. But I think y'all's is at a good level the way it is, especially since you're not budgeting to use fund balance in the coming year. So y'all apparently have a balanced budget from what I'm seeing. So
what's the percentage you use as a benchmark?
The state used to say that they used 8%. They've kind of gone away from that now. They sent a memo out here recently saying that They don't put a percentage out there. But it used to be 8%, which is basically 1 month's operating cash. So they would say you'd need enough fund balance to cover 1 month's operating expenses. So I think if you look at yours, it's around 28% of general fund expenditures. So y'all would be, well over that 8% benchmark. But y'all technically have to cover all of your governmental fund expenditures. So I think if you look at it as a percentage of general fund expenditures, state public school fund, federal grants, capital outlay, schools, you're a lot lower. It's more like around 3%. So, but again, there is no set amount. I think y'all are at a good level based on other districts. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
presentation.
Thank y'all.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Norfleet and our finance department. Job well done. School safety and security update, Mr. Lawrence.
Good evening.
Hey, Mike.
Just a quick update. Tomorrow got a last training session with the central office staff on reviewing emergency plans. Going to go over some scenarios with them, kind of walk through some tabletop discussions. Done that with all the other staff. Meeting with the sheriff and SROs again tomorrow for the second time in less than a month. And we've set that up for every month from now to the end of the school year or to the end of the year. Next Tuesday, we start our district safety team meetings here. That would be the first one for the district. And hopefully everybody's got their people in the line. Next Thursday night, we have our first district's parent information session. We're going to put out there and roll that out on social media here shortly, but that'll be next Thursday night. And we've purchased another metal detector for use at events and in the school system if needed. So, any questions?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you. Principals presentations. First on the list is Camden County High School.
Good evening. The transition to the high school has been extremely exciting. This is one busy place. Before I show you how busy it is, I do want to take the time to thank my students and the community and the staff at the high school for just a warm welcome. There's some specific folks I do want to thank that's really helped me out this summer. Miss Overton, Miss Harris, Miss Clemens, Coach Harnley, they really know the ins and outs of the school, and I really use them to ask a lot of questions, and they've been very helpful. I also want to thank the administrative team, Mr. Barlow, Miss Wendell, and also Miss Davis left the high school in really good shape, and I probably called her that first week probably 5 times a day, but I do appreciate her help and her support. And now I just want to show you what we've been doing here last 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Camden Early College High School.
So good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you all for having me here. Early college, actually, when I was first told them, I don't know what I'm going to say, but as you all know, we're actually finishing up our 5th week. So it's not really our first week, but it's been a great place. To me, I'm the lucky one. Well, we currently have about 143 students, 44 freshmen, which is our biggest class, 37 sophomores, 30 juniors, 24 seniors, and 8 super seniors, which I'm really excited about. Students and staff are really at a good high, a good morale. A little bit piggyback off Tim there. Our kids are participating in soccer, football, volleyball, cross country, band. So they're taking part and taking advantage of the opportunities. One of the things I really have been impressed by is the amount of volunteering our students have been doing. I mean, they volunteered at Grandy for their open house, helping teachers set up their classrooms. There was a livestock show, soccer concessions, and now they've also signed up for a chili cook-off and the movie night that I think they're looking to do. So I'm really impressed with that. And one of the other things that has allowed me to do there at the early college is I actually have been able to meet with about 121 out of the 143 students. And one of the few things that common threads that have shown up is how supportive our teachers are. A lot of them are, well, I'm here because I want to save money as they're moving ahead. They want to get ahead in school. They like the small community that we have to offer there. And the other two things is, they're looking to go into a 4-year university or straight to the workforce. And to me, it fits everything that we are about at the early college. And then just recently, we got the great news that we exceeded growth and we're designated an A school. So we're super stoked about that. Actually, Miss Gwen Stevens dropped off some goodies for the staff this morning. So we're really that. Now I've been talking, but really you don't want to hear from me. So, Joe, go ahead and just have a little video for y'all.
My name is Ella. I'm a sophomore. I'm Emma, and I'm in 9th grade.
I'm Braden. I'm a fifth-year senior right now.
I am Tucker Williams, and I am in 11th grade.
My expectations are to become more independent for just everything, I guess, time management, schoolwork. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I would like to be able to pass with good grades and grasp a pretty good understanding for each class.
For this year, I plan to graduate with my associates and my high school diploma at the same time. I can get an associate in arts for it, so I can go to a 4-year school and do something with that.
Mainly to stay on top of my work and have a better school year than last year. No trouble, just get the schoolwork done.
My classes here at the high school have been really good. All the teachers have been extremely helpful. COA has been relatively easy so far as I'm starting out. My classes have been very good. I've had such great help from teachers and other classmates, and feel like I'm really a part of the community already.
So right now, I only have COA classes, but I'm actually doing a lot better this year than I did in previous years because I'm more focused and I'm more motivated to finish my classes than I was last year.
The classes here have been pretty well. I really enjoy the teachers here, and at COA, my professors they're pretty nice. I like my welding classes best just because that's just something that I enjoy, but they're very helpful here and at COA.
I would say the people, everyone here is very close and kind of like family, along with the teachers. Teachers are very helpful. I think that all the people are just great. It's a very tight community and it's all going great.
So for the new school year, I think definitely coming in, talking to Dr. Black about my classes, how I'm doing, and just everything has been really good because it's nice just to come in and just see people and just check in and just check up on me and stuff like that.
Really just starting the year off with a bang. Just started off with good grades, good reputation, just having a better point of view this year than I did last year.
Y'all have any questions? Thank you.
Camden Middle School.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to talk about my kids. So the year has started off really, really, really well. Starting with the teachers coming in, just a lot of positivity in the building. We did a lot of work over the summer, looking at grouping and how are we putting kids in classes. And we're seeing the fruits of that labor is starting to come through now. But just a lot of positivity throughout the building. Everybody's happy. The principal's a little bit grumpy most days, but the kids are happy. So it's been a really good start to the year. Open house, we did a little different this year and kind of scheduled it a little bit different format and received a lot of good feedback on that. you could actually move around the building and get where you're trying to get to. So that worked out well. We have 3 new teachers this year. Miss Duty is coming in teaching 8th grade science. Mr. Bertrand is a social studies teacher. And then Miss Royal was a TA, and she's now one of our EC teachers. So far this year, Watchdogs, we had a joint meeting with the middle school, Grandy, and CIS. It was really well attended. Last year, we had 1 person sign up to work at the middle school. This year, we have 11. So it's a lot better response from the community on that. And it's going really well. This year, when I met with the kids and I talked to them, I was like, well, this is the first year where we're really going to try and get back to normal. We said that at the start of last year, but we didn't know. We got kind of blindsided. And so we got a lot of things planned for the kids. All the clubs are back up and running and they're recruiting kids right now, trying to get that going. Sports is in full swing right now. Had our first home game tonight. So sports is in full swing. But if I could sum it all up, I heard this both from a teacher and from a student, is that this was the first year since COVID that they came back and they weren't anxious. It's like they were excited about coming to school and being in the building. So it's just a different feel this year. So, but enough of me if you want to see some kids. The song is Happy If There's Work, so everybody can sing that.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got, don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down.
Do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
Camden Intermediate School.
Good evening. At CIS, we are so excited about our upcoming year. We began with so much positivity. Our staff came together and actually decorated our hallways. And if you see our hallways, they look phenomenal. And our staff actually, our theme with Adventures Await, I sent them on a scavenger hunt during one of the days. And I know they busted into the early college and they were all determined to win. So it was just wonderful. And we have a great staff at CIS. I knew this was going to happen. Okay. We had open house on the 25th, and about 95% from each grade level came. And it was so wonderful to have everybody come back in the building and to see all the smiling student faces. And it was a great way to start the year. Our CIS population is 400 and not 38 students, it's 439 students as of today. We have 48 staff members. Fourth grade, we have 7 teachers and 155 students, with 22 being the average class size. Fifth grade, we have 6 teachers with 143 students. 24 is the average class size. And sixth grade, we have 6 teachers with 140 students, and 23 is the average class size. Some news and information. I am so grateful that we were able to get an intervention and support team. So we have Miss Meads and Miss Formby as our intervention support team, because that's so important, especially with everything that our students have lost over the past couple of years with COVID. We have a new 4th grade teacher, Miss Newton, and Sandra Harris went from being an assistant to a 6th grade math teacher. We have a new resource officer, Jason Winders, and he is absolutely phenomenal. He really is doing a great job building those relationships with all of our students. We started something new this year. It's the drop-off and pickup of CIS and GPS students in the back, and I believe it has really helped on the road on 343, and it has gone so smoothly. First couple of days, of course, we had to work out the kinks, but it really has gone smoothly, so I'm glad that we could help that transition. This year, we have a 5th grade band introductory class. I know that Miss Lee was talking about the numbers during COVID had gotten lower in band. So we have rotations of 5th graders getting introduced to all the different band pieces and equipment. So I'm excited about that. As Mr. Reeves said, we had our watchdog meeting and it was very successful. We had over 50 guardians and parents there. The implementation of Character Strong and Parent Square, we're working on that. And I have to applaud all the CIS teachers for the first week of 100% letters completion. They are working very hard on that, and they're doing that on their own time. And I really applaud them for how they come together and have been working through that. And a big appreciation to Miss Fran for her hard work this summer to get CIS ready for school. She did an amazing job. She's outstanding, and I wanted to shout that out. Our first adventure is movie night, which will be September 16th, and we're going to see The Bad Guys. It's going to be an outdoor joint GPS CIS movie night. The event is free. We will be selling concessions, and last year it was a very big event for the community, and I'm excited about it again this year. You could come on out and volunteer if you want. And a big thank you to the board, parents, community, central office staff for your support. Last year, we went to infinity and beyond, and this year we are going to where the adventures await. So thank you. Stop by anytime, and I appreciate everything.
Grandy Primary School.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you guys today?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
So I'd like to start off by telling you a little bit about Grandy and the opening that we had. We started off the night with our opening night with Grandy Wood Open House, and we did it with 96% of our families attending. They were able to meet their teachers, administration, ask questions, and be ready for the school year. Teachers and students were very excited about all the upcoming events that were taking place. Some highlights that have already been mentioned a little bit. Working with CIS, we changed the car rider line to allow for the sibling pickup, which has been really good for both Grandy and CIS to allow the transportation flow. We've received a lot of feedback, changes for the drop-off in the morning. This has decreased the number of cars that are on 343, and I can't think, Miss Lisa. She said that Officer Winders has been really great at making sure the traffic is flowing and helping our students. Our watchdog meeting, Grandy had 28 men sign up for that, so we're excited about the opportunity to have all those watchdogs in our building. And overall, being new to the area, I'm just excited about the support that I've already received and the community and all the stakeholders that are involved. We invite you to come to Grandy anytime that you would like. And I'm looking forward to having another successful year. Any questions? Thank you.
And again, thank you to all the principals for your presentations on the opening of school. Hope all of you have a very successful and safe school year. Mr. Lawrence, to talk about summer maintenance projects.
Good evening. I believe you got a copy of this in your packet. I'd like to go over just a few of the bigger highlights. So you'll know CIS, not CIS, the high school and early college all got upgraded cameras and wiring to upgrade their system. We have the equipment to do the rest of the schools. We just got to let things slow down just a little bit, and we'll be picking a school, and hopefully by real soon we'll have all the schools with upgraded cameras and systems in them. We're going to 4,000K, really nice cameras. We replaced the fire alarm system, Grandy and CIS. Even though it doesn't seem that old to maybe you guys, it was outdated. We were having trouble getting parts, and it wasn't meeting all the codes. So we had to upgrade that this year. Waiting on the final inspection on that. That should be coming up in about a week. We have ordered a security gate to put in the hallway of Grandy so we can separate the Grandy from the gym. Because as you know, when things goes on in the gym, sometimes we have too much traffic in Grandy. So there'll be a gate installed there to separate it. So if you go to the gym, you got to stay in that one little area. And you may have seen, we've got the ALP trailer here. I just got it delivered the other night. I'm going to hope to get it tied down and blocked up next week and work towards getting the plumbing and the electrical and everything in it. That's the big things off the list. The rest of the list is the normal maintenance items that we cover every summer and everything. And I appreciate the support and everything. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Action agenda, item A, proposed budget for the 2022-23 fiscal year, Ms. Norfleet.
I'm presenting to the 23 budget for your approval. The total budget totals $22.8 million. The local current expense budget totals $3.6 million. That's balanced with county appropriation of $2.8 million, $446,135 of other revenue. And speaking of fund balance, I did balance the budget with $353,865 of fund balance. But that still leaves a hefty amount in there based on what Mr. Smith said earlier. And of course, my hope is to not use any of that fund balance that's assigned because I did not balance the budget with any ESSER funding. So that's still there too, but I did not include that in the budget. The capital outlay budget totals $640,481, and that's balanced with the county appropriation of $455,878 and $184,603 of fund balance. But that does include the ALP mobile unit that we'd actually budgeted last year, so now it's rolled over. That was included in that fund balance that we didn't spend. And it also includes a new activity bus that you approved at the last meeting as well. So are there any questions about the budget?
No questions?
Then my recommendation is that you approve the proposed budget for the 2022-2023 fiscal year as presented by Ms. Norfleet.
Motion by Dr. Banks to accept the superintendent's recommendation for the proposed budget of the 2022-23 fiscal year as presented by Ms. Norfleet. Seconded by Ms. Idlet. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Norfleet, continue with PRC 071 low welt supplement.
In the 21-22 state budget, that included a new allotment, which was PRC 071, which was low welt supplements for K-12 teachers and certified instructional support personnel. Local boards were responsible for developing and adopting an administrative process and our policy for determining the individuals to receive the supplements, when they receive them, and the amount. Last budget year, I presented the process and it was approved that all eligible personnel would receive an equal amount and that would be paid in 2 installments, October and April. So I'm asking for approval to adopt the same criteria for this year. Our allotment this year totaled $978,306, which has to cover the supplement as well as the matching benefits, which is FICA, and retirement, which is 24.5%. So the total supplement amount would be $4,655.97, and that is for 159 staff members that are eligible, which include classroom teachers, nurses, speech, guidance counselors, psychologists, AIG, Title I, media coordinators, and social workers. And it would be paid half, so $2,327.99 would be paid in October, and then the remaining half, $2327.98, would be paid in April. And that would use the whole allotment up except for 57 cents.
Anyone have any questions?
If there are no questions, then I would recommend that you approve the PRC 071 low wealth supplement for the 2022-2023 school year as presented by Ms. Norfleet.
Motion by Mr. Heath, that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for PRC 071 low wealth supplement for 2022-23 school year as presented by Ms. Norfleet. Seconded by Ms. Idlet. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Calendar change, Superintendent Farrell.
You all will recall that you approved the academic calendars in the spring for the 2022-2023 school year. One of the things that we added last year was graduation dates for both high schools. And currently for Camden Early College High School, the graduation date is set for Friday, May 19th. Mr. Castillo and his staff are they wish to move back to the COA campus for graduation like we did prior to COVID. And so the new graduation date would be Saturday, May 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the College of the Albemarle. And because it is on the approved academic calendar, that needs your approval. And so I'm requesting that approval.
Motion by Dr. Banks to accept the superintendent's recommendation for calendar change of Camden Early College High School graduation. Change date to Saturday, May 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. College of the Albemarle. Seconded by Ms. Idlet. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Superintendent Farrell, our December 5th Board of Education meeting.
So every year, right after the November election, at our early December meeting, there are newly elected or newly re-elected board members for swearing in ceremonies, and we're always on a really tight time crunch. And so we've also discussed whether or not there would be some attendance at the commissioners meeting that morning prior to going to our meeting. And so I wanted to bring this to your attention now to ask you all to decide if you want to change the time of that meeting on December 5th.
Will we be having a joint meeting with the commission?
We have not scheduled one as of yet, but I know that right immediately following the swearing in ceremony, they go into their meeting, and usually we struggle to get back to start our meeting on time. So we have not yet planned a joint meeting though.
An hour between the swearing in ceremony and our meeting time.
That would, I mean, if that's what you all are comfortable with, that would be,
10 a.m.
that would work.
That's your motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Dr. Banks has made a motion that we move our December 5th, 2022 Board of Education meeting time to 10 a.m. Seconded by Ms. Idler. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Policy 3110, Innovation in Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Farrell.
So during the discussion about policy 3200 and 3210, we also had some discussion at that time about adding language that has been shared with you all in your packet, adding certain prohibitions in within curriculum and instruction. And after consulting with our attorney, he recommended that we place that language in policy 3110 rather than in 3200 or 3210, which was retabled tonight. And so my request tonight, since this is a first time of bringing this to you, is that you table policy 3110 until the next board meeting.
Motion to table the policy for review. Motion by Dr. Banks to table policy 3110, innovation in curriculum and instruction, until a subsequent regular scheduled board meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Heath. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Branching Mind Software, Mr. Lyman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And first off, thank you for having me and at least considering this software. I do believe I come as an advocate for our administration, our teachers, and our students. I'm hoping that in the next few minutes I can do justice to what this program can offer us. I really like to call it a web application because I know since COVID, when we hear program, our eyes kind of roll and we do wonder how much it costs. Hopefully this video can do a little bit better job of explaining it. That's not the right button. Yeah.
A teacher's job is complicated. Supporting every learner holistically and equitably requires data, collaboration, and effective differentiation, which is the promise of a multi-tiered system of support. Awesome in theory, really, really hard in reality, because teachers need to wrangle so many data sources to know which students need support in what areas, why they need the support, which evidence-based interventions to provide, which assessment to use to monitor progress, how to design and implement the plan, how to tell if it's working, how to do it all in collaboration with other educators while managing all of the necessary documentation. It's just too much. That's why we built Branching Minds, to make the best practices of MTSS actually practicable. Through our user-friendly online platform, Branching Minds pulls together all the necessary data to help educators find the gaps, see who needs help, what's working, what isn't, and why, and then proactively recommends what to do next. With visibility into equity and system-level health, academic data, nationally normed SEL screeners, behavior incidents, teacher insights, scaffolded plans, a curated library of thousands of evidence-based interventions, workflows, templates, family communications, and more. It's all in one place, guided by best practices. Branching Minds saves teachers time and effort, gives administrators visibility, shrinks equity gaps, and improves student outcomes. We make MTSS effective so schools can find the right path for every learner.
Okay, so as the video said, Branching Minds kind of does everything, like when it comes to education. So it doesn't just make the teachers' lives easier in the classroom, but it makes all the paperwork, the collaboration, MTSS as a whole, which involves the SEL portion and behavior portion, which we'll get to in a minute. All of the paperwork, all the meetings, it really involves every aspect of what a teacher does day in and day out, of what an administrator does day in and day out, and a student. So for the teachers, it allows them to see all the students and what they need, their support levels. It allows them to see the reading, the math. It allows them to see the speech, science, and the SEL and behavior. So it really encompasses the whole child. For the higher level, for the high school level, it allows them to monitor the dropout risk, which would include your attendance percentage, their behavior, how many courses they've possibly failed. And then it also finds students with shared needs. So you're able to group students, so you're able to work with students together. And it gives you the assessment data that's needed in order to provide the interventions. It also allows you to see a real student overview with one click. So to where before, you might have to open up 8 different tabs just to see what the child is doing, maybe in different subjects over different programs. Here, it automatically integrates all into one web-based application. So just by opening up a window, a teacher is able to see their entire class, see the whole student just with one click. And it also allows them to collect meaningful insights. It allows them to collaborate with other teachers. It allows them to collaborate with families. It allows them to collaborate with administrators to understand not only what the student is struggling with, but why the student is struggling. And then very importantly, it allows the teachers to find evidence-based interventions. This would actually take teachers hours and hours to be able to find an intervention to help the students who are struggling. Here, it provides an entire bank of interventions, whether it be through math, SEL, behavior, or reading, that would allow the teachers just to pull from and be able to use in those small group intervention settings. And of course, it saves time with documenting. Paperwork is one of the biggest time consumers of teachers. So, and instead of passing around folders from teacher to teacher, it allows for transparency and allows for documentation to be right there online. So whether they go from grade level to grade level, teacher to teacher, and even for the administrators or the MTSS specialist or interventionist to be able to see in real time at any point in time. They also get to create intervention plans. And again, we have papers, we have folders right now that we do pass around that we attempt to get from teacher to teacher year by year. But here it would allow you to pull up in a web-based application to be able to pull up at any point in time. And then importantly, as we know, education is dynamic, and we have switched from just the application, just from the academic portion to the SEL and behavior portion of a student. And we've looked at their health needs holistically and collaboratively. And here, Branching Minds not only tracks the SEL and behavior data, but allows us to assess by using the DESA suite of assessments. The DESA, and I apologize if I don't do it justice, but the DESA is a SEL assessment that's used nationwide that gathers data based on whether it be student assessment or teacher assessment of the students. And so not only does it provide data, but it does it appropriately based on their age. So there's one DESA for the students in grades kindergarten through 8th grade and another 9th through 12th. This is a web-based application, but it is not one that students would necessarily just get on and do. This is really a web-based application that teachers would utilize. So they would utilize it and they would turn data into practice by creating groups of students with SEL needs, identifying the best evidence-based interventions for SEL or academic. They would monitor the SEL progress through the DESA minis, and they would be able to communicate and collaborate with families and colleagues. They would also be able to leverage tier health and wellness reports. So they're going to be able to see where the students are, not only on an academic level, but also on an SEL and behavioral level. And I apologize, Scott, I went kind of quick, but there is so much in this web-based application that, I mean, I could go on for hours and hours to everything that it involves, everything that it offers to our teachers. It will save them time. It will provide us a screener that we so desperately need. The cost is about $8 per student, which is by itself almost the cost of an SEL screener by itself. Any questions?
Does North Carolina require us to abide by SEL standards, or does North Carolina have SEL standards? Does North Carolina require us to purchase this program? Who is promoting this program? How did we come across this program?
So I'll start with the latter. So we actually came across this program because we were looking for something to kind of streamline our MTSS process. So the MTSS process is essentially taking our core instruction of our tier 1 students, as well as students who may be struggling in our tier 2 and tier 3. It is such a massive process in the aspect of time and paperwork and all that we were looking to streamline something there. And that's where we came across Branching Minds. And then we found out that it also included an SEL portion and behavior portion to it, which is much needed. Now, I'm not sure about the standards. Okay. All right. All right. Standards or not, we know that without the social emotional portion or the behavior portion, that that the academics aren't going to happen. And we realize that the importance of providing students with the opportunity to or teachers even with the tools to support students social, emotionally, and behaviorally, then academics and the teaching's kind of a byproduct, and we get to focus more on that, less time on the paperwork and everything else.
So the SEL is not required in the North Carolina standards, but helps us implement MTSS, or SEL, or the SEL is required by North Carolina as part of our standards.
So
the SEL portion, this program, is the SEL part of North Carolina's standards? Is it part of the MTSS? Is MTSS and SEL separate from one another?
So MTSS, if I know it's somewhat hard to explain, MTSS is essentially everything we do.
Right.
It's essentially just providing supports for students. I'm not sure about the SEL standards and the requirement there, but I can assure you that it is essentially required for a student to thrive and be successful academically.
I'm sorry to not trying to grill you, but I understand the social and emotional portion is key to a student's success.
Correct.
But what I'm asking specifically, is the SEL program a mandate of North Carolina?
No.
North Carolina requires us to implement MTSS.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Does it require us to implement SEL? Yes. By law? And
trained for 6 hours last year, and they have to train 2 hours every year thereafter.
But what this program does is address more, if I'm understanding it correctly, more of the MTSS process. It just so happens that this program, we were looking at a screener to help determine the social and emotional needs of our students, and learned that this was something that you all were wanting, school administrators were wanting to do for to support teachers and students with MTSS, but it also happened to have an SEL screener in it. So why buy another one when we're already using this one? Is kind of where we landed. Am I correct?
Separate screener that I viewed and looked into would have cost us another $3 per child to get into that. And the teachers, they need the screener. They have to have some way to be able to identify the behaviors and the problems that the kids are bringing to their academic piece. Because a kid can't learn if he's struggling with anxiety and depression and that sort of thing. So it helps us to be able to discover what these children have as far as an emotional foundation, and we can go from there to help them to make progress academically.
my concern is not on the local level. It's a rabbit hole that I went down today, not expecting to. You know, that logo, it caught my eye because that is the same logo that's associated with the SEL program that is developed by Castle, CASEL. That program is gaining some momentum as being controversial in a sense that it is part of an indoctrination program that there are other things that fall under the guise of this, that this is a sneaky way of implementing systems into our education system. And again, this is the North Carolina level. That's why I wanted to clarify that. Is it my understanding that parents can opt out of certain surveys if they desire to avoid their child's data being mined?
No, and I appreciate you saying that. I have not seen that. So I appreciate you bringing that up. That part is only a very small portion of what Branching Minds does offer. It actually does offer other SEL assessments. So if that were to become something that was controversial, then that's something that we can definitely push to the side. But it is not. That is by no means like mandated through Branching Minds at all.
I was not expecting to get into this tonight.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Okay.
Well, Branching Minds isn't, I mean, I don't think, that's not really a program, right? That's like that's a data management, data analysis software is way I'm.
Yes, yes, it is. Including with it are the tools and the interventions and all that are actually pulled from, the Florida Center for Reading Research and several other places to help provide teachers with the tools to work with students.
So my only question on that then would be, so the SEL portion, I guess, would that be like more protected, like as far as access? Because obviously that's containing more like student confidentiality information versus a teacher just logging in and pulling the academics or whoever logged in.
Correct. Yes.
So the SEL module would have more restricted access, I guess, to who's privy to that.
And as far as Castle is concerned, North Carolina has built
Right.
their program on Castle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Somebody had shared a video of, follow the money. And I mean, it is very concerning. Yeah, it's extremely concerning.
But everything that we have been doing with SEL so far, if you go to the North Carolina
Right.
website, it's all built on Castle.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about what the future projections are, what they have planned in a subterfuge kind of way, but what we have right now that I'm aware of is purely a system to identify kids that are struggling with social and emotional issues. Now, whether it
After,
could lead to something
yeah.
else, Dr. Banks, I don't know.
Right. And I like I said, this is not a local issue, apparently. I mean, this is a statewide issue that I don't think enough people are aware of. I mean, I found more today than I expected to. And I think we should be conscious of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So, sorry to.
No.
So I'd like to table that for 30 days if possible.
Absolutely the call of the board.
Table the
So,
analysis software?
but and I will tell you, like, which I understand, like tabling it, like I'm perfectly good with that was the SEL portion, which is absolutely important, which I know you all agree with. It is not necessary even to move forward with Branching Minds. We were actually even grandfathered in to getting the DESA and all that you speak of for free, to where now they charge extra for it. So that's even a portion that we can actually even get rid of it if that turns out to be something that becomes controversial.
So is this video and this information that you've uncovered, Dr. Banks, is it related?
Y'all are going to start thinking I'm crazy.
Is it
I know.
related to Branching Minds or the SEL portion?
Well, Branching Minds falls under, it's the same development as Castle, same as SEL.
But this is just a data analysis software,
It could be a data mining software.
data mining. But if we don't allow them to use the SEL portion.
So right, and we allow
It's all tied together. This is a further implementation of the SEL program. I mean, it allows you to funnel data more efficiently, correct?
Correct.
Like I said, I mean,
No, absolutely, yeah.
sorry.
Dr. Banks, is your motion to table the branching mind software?
I would like some time to do some more research. Like I said, this was something that I did not anticipate getting into today or tonight. And I think it would be wise and prudent of all of us to do a little more examination.
Dr. Banks has made a motion that we table any consideration of purchase of the branching mind software to a subsequent regular school board meeting.
And I will say, I do appreciate you being an advocate for the students, though. I mean, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely nothing against the social and emotional portion of it. It's the,
Thank you.
Great job.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Seconded by Ms. Idlet. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yes, Dr. Banks, you'll share those information so far with Dr. Farrell to,
Can you email us? Like,
I would,
and the rest of
I
us.
mean, you really don't have to do much. Just do some Google searches and some YouTube searches and,
under council.
yeah. But yes, I mean, I'll be glad to share what I find or whatever, but I encourage parents, staff, everybody to look into the broader scope of this program.
This program or Castle?
Castle, SEL, Branching Minds. I mean, like I said, the logo is what caught my eye because I saw it associated with other Castle products, but yes, it's something that the public should be aware of.
I just Googled Castle and did not come up with anything,
No,
but then I Googled Castle controversy and there's a list.
You can look up brainwashing, whatever. Controversy will get you started.
All right. Sir. Item G, NCSBA nomination opportunities.
So as you all know, the conference is coming up in November, the North Carolina School Boards Association Conference. And so I wanted to go through the list of opportunities for the board to nominate. The first one is for the Raleigh Dingman Award. As you all know, that's kind of their pinnacle award that that board members are nominated for. Of course, Mr. Overton received that award a few years ago. And I wanted to ask you all if you want to nominate someone this year.
You already got it, Chris.
Yeah, I
That's
already
what
got it. So I don't think any of
Yeah, no.
us are even. Huh? You want?
Everybody's quiet, so I'm gonna assume there's no nominations.
That was about what I was getting ready to assume. All right. And so then the Innovation and Excellence in Public Education Award. And if this is something that you all want to think about and let me know, that's fine. But the Innovation and Excellence in Public Education Award recognizes exemplary work undertaken by school boards that creatively found solutions to challenges faced in their district. And so if that's something you all want to discuss tonight, that's
For a
certainly
school
fine.
board member or a staff
This is,
member or-
this is
the entire board.
This is for the entire board. Something that you all, if there's something you all feel the board has done that's innovative in public education.
Dealing with the commissioners count?
I don't know that they would recognize that, but it certainly counts.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't think so, do you? No, next.
Right. So the Champion of Education Award, the North Carolina School Boards Association wishes to recognize those individuals, businesses, community members, employees, or school board members who have demonstrated ongoing dedication to the success of our K-12 students and the betterment of public schools in North Carolina for the Champion of Education Award.
Next.
Okay. All right, this one might be a little bit easier. There are vacancies on the North Carolina School Boards Association Board of Directors. The letter from Leanne Winter states that we are seeking nominations for vacancies on the School Boards Association Board of Directors from your region. The term of service is 2 years, and members are eligible to serve for 2 terms. And I believe that
I am not
you had,
eligible.
Christian is
You're not
not eligible
eligible?
because he's already done it.
Then that's a no then.
Okay, then move
Next.
next.
Okay. That's what got you that Raleigh Dingman Award, Christian, all that extra work. All right, and then, of course, the voting delegates form, you all can choose 3 delegates for the determination of the number of voting delegates. It states is to which your system is entitled should be made according to the following scale. And so again, we qualify for our Board of Education, or our board qualifies for 3 delegates at the School Boards Association Conference.
I'm not going, so.
It's on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this year.
I believe it is on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this year.
It is.
Yeah, they changed it. back
Yeah,
to
because
that.
it was a
Christian, Sissy,
weekend.
you gonna go?
I'm gonna try to go.
Just make it Christian, Sissy, and Priscilla.
That's what happens when you're not here, Chris.
Okay.
Stick up for himself.
Dr. Banks, are you planning to attend or not attend?
No.
Okay. All right.
We don't need action.
Motion.
You know what? You do need action on that, yes.
Did you make a motion, Ms.
I
Islet?
did.
Ms. Islet has made a motion for representation of herself, Mr. Purcell, and me as the voting delegates for the 2022 NCSB Annual Conference.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Heath. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution of the Camden County Board of Education urging support and funding for child nutrition and school meals program.
Yeah.
Superintendent Farrell.
So rather than reading this, I'll just share with you all. As you know, we have, over the past couple of years, we have had all students have access to free meals in school. And so a number of school boards across the state are urging both the federal and state government to support feeding all children in North Carolina at no cost, and or to at no cost to the families. And so I felt like this was probably something that I should bring to your attention, given the increase in participation in our cafeterias when the food when meals were free, and obviously inflation that is impacting everyone in our country right now. A large number of other North Carolina counties are adopting the resolution, and so my recommendation to you is to adopt this resolution tonight to be sure that all of our children have access to meals while they are in school at no cost to their families.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Heath to accept the superintendent's recommendation to adopt a resolution for the Camden County Board of Education support and funding of child nutrition and school meals program. Seconded by Ms. Idler. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Superintendent's recommendation from closed session. Employment of
Yes.
personnel.
My recommendation is that you approve the personnel report as shared by Ms. Davis in closed session.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Islet to accept the superintendent's recommendation for employment of personnel as presented by Ms. Davis in closed session.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Heath. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Announcements, the North Carolina School Board Association Fall District Meeting will be held Tuesday, September 20th, and it's at the Wilson Fine Arts Center in Wilson, North Carolina. And I believe registration starts at 1:30. Normally goes to about 5. If anyone plans to attend, please let Miss Anita know so she can get you registered. And the North Carolina School Board Association Annual Conference is going to be Monday, November 14th through Wednesday, November 16th at the Sheraton Four Seasons in Greensboro. Again, confirm with Miss Anita. Attendance or not? Does anyone else have any other announcements?
I have one thing.
Dr. Farrell has an announcement.
As Mr. Overton shared with you all earlier in the week, he and I met with the representatives from MB Con and Mosley Architects to have begin some discussion now that it looks like things are starting to settle, hopefully with the site for building the school. We wanted to go ahead and have a conversation with them about next steps for us so that once that decision is final, that we will not be holding up progress and we'll be ready. And those are things like design of the building and so forth. And so as a result, Mr. Overton asked that I reach out to the representatives of MB-Con and Mosley to find out some days in September because it was their recommendation that we get together sooner rather than later, I think was their description. And so I have some dates for you here. I sent those to you by email, but I want to let you know that, as you know, Mr. Purcell couldn't be here tonight, but he has shared that the 20th of September and the 27th of September would work for him. But if it's on the 27th, it would need to be in the evening, late afternoon or evening.
I'll be gone on the 27th. What was the other date that you had there?
Mr. Purcell said he could meet on Tuesday, September 20th in the evening.
I could do that.
I could do that.
Okay. Of course, I will be available whenever you all decide to meet. So I will let them know that Tuesday, September 20th. And when we say evening, what's the earliest?
Actually, I have something at 6 o'clock that evening. Could we do like sorry.
Can we
Is
do
there
that?
another date? Was there anything else?
They didn't send any other September dates, but I can reach out to them and then get with you all.
I can't do the 20th or the 27th. I'll be at the beach on the 27th. I
Okay.
could do like a virtual. I mean, I could
On what, the 27th?
do that virtually.
I mean, that's fine. Yours, that's fine.
I mean, I can have that set up for you, but I want you to be comfortable with that because this is, I mean, it's a really important discussion.
Yeah. I think that'll be fine.
Okay. So we're thinking Tuesday, September 27th then. And they say anytime, but Mr. Purcell said it would need to be late afternoon or evening. So are we talking like 6 again or?
6:30 or something. You say so for Chris? I mean, I'm good with 6.
6 works for me.
I mean,
He said late afternoon or evening, so.
Well, late afternoon, yes, it's 6.
All right, so on Tuesday, September 27th at 6 p.m., I will let them know that we are available to meet. And that's actually one of their preferred times anyway, so that will be good for them too.
Can you say again what do we intend to accomplish?
So do you want to share any of that?
Yeah, so kind of Dr. Farrell and I, so what are our next steps? And the commissioners have kind of, we're moving towards 343 as the site. And so we wanted to start talking about, so what are our next steps that we need to be at with Mosley and MB Con? Because they were kind of, everything they have told us and communicated was we're at a standstill until we have
Will they have a
something to work
budget by
with.
that date? I know we asked for it like a couple of months ago.
They
that's-
did say they would have that.
They said they would have the budget. Ashley would be compiling a list of the add alternates again. The parts of the school or the school building or campus, however you want to put it, that she made, when we started out here and we got down to a smaller building. So just bringing all that back up to us in front of us to make the best decisions we can to move forward. So when due diligence is done, we're ready to roll. We're ready to roll. We've already ahead in the process.
And I think
They
will-
agreed and they were very happy that we were ready to do that.
Can we
So,
also reach out to the county finance, can't think of his name?
Cheatwood?
Cheatwood.
We don't, I can reach out to Aaron Burke, the county manager, and have her.
Yes, I mean,
What are you wanting from Mr. Cheatwood?
I mean, there's been some discussion with county commissioners as far as USDA loans versus conventional loans. And I mean, I think he would be a good guy to chime in on that, as we're trying to get our ducks in a row, finally. So, yeah. if
Are
we
you
reach
talking
out-
about having him attend this meeting or just get information?
Information would be fine.
Okay.
What kind of, just rates?
Rates, anticipated timelines for approval with each one, the hoops that we would need to jump through.
They're already pretty far along with USDA though, aren't they? I mean,
We were right at approval of the USDA loan when we all put it on hold, when the two boards put it on hold to apply for the grant. And of course, the site came up right at the same time, but yeah, they were ready to hit the approval button on that. Now, of course, that will change because even though we're now looking like we're going to build a 343 site again, the site plan and all that will change. And so a lot of that will have to be updated.
I think we should make it clear to them that we do not want to spend a lot of, we don't want to spend any money right now on making any changes until that due diligence period is done.
Correct.
Right, on
Correct.
changes. Now, part of the due diligence, and I know you
Yes.
know this, is spending money on the site
Correct.
and making sure that, the soil is what it needs to be and all that.
Right.
Okay. But as far as the design, I get it.
we just want to get opportunity for Mosley and everybody to be at a point to say, here's where the building will sit. That's where you need to test
Yeah,
the soil
well, the design's pretty
for the
much done.
design.
Yeah, it should be.
I mean,
It
it
is.
just needs
The
to be on the
layout,
piece of
the
ground.
layout of that land is a little different. So as far as like
I
athletic
think it'll
fields.
fit. I mean,
Yeah,
the
it'll-
school itself, I'm not about the building itself.
Ashley indicated that she would make some, being that the land configuration has changes, she would want to make some changes in the school
Yeah.
as well to make it a better school for,
Yeah.
make it flow better. And
I would think, since we
she's
don't,
got a lot better opportunities for design.
yeah, I think you would like turn it probably and face a side road since we're coming the way we would come now. But I would still think this layout of the school itself would stay pretty much.
I think the layout will stay the same. It's a matter of we could begin discussing things like, what would it look like to add back, let's say, an auditorium, and how much would that cost? And what would
Extra
the size of it be, and extra classrooms? And do you take any of the current spaces within the current footprint of the building that you all made smaller because of the tighter budget? And now that we have the grant funding and all that, would you go within the current footprint and expand any of those areas back out?
Bring the core out, bring the core numbers up.
Or any? I mean, it could be the media center bigger, the cafeteria bigger, CTE bigger, science classrooms bigger, anything.
Right. All right.
Those are all the discussions I'm under the impression that they want to have when we meet on the 27th.
Correct.
So it would be whatever they're going to bring, but it would also be anything that you all want to bring to their attention as well. All right. I can get rolling on that.
So we would put an advertisement out for a special call meeting for a work session on September 27th at 6 p.m.
Yes. And we should
And we need a location.
we should probably do it here if it's available, just because they're going to
Then
be,
everything to spread out.
yeah, it might be a little tight in my office.
Mr. Lazar, all right if we use your media center? Thank you, sir.
It will be open to the public.
Oh, it'll be open.
Yes,
they
it'll
just
be
won't
open
have-
to a
because it's
public
work
work
session.
session. We just won't have public comment, request to appear, things like that. All right. Does anybody have any other business or future agenda items? Seeing none, I entertain a motion that we recess open session to return to close. Motion. Motion by Dr. Banks that we recess open session and return to close, seconded by Ms. Adler. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks everyone for coming. And we will not be having any other action when we come back into open session. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.